Welcome to the world of Johnny Depp, the ultimate Hollywood icon. The evergreen, charismatic actor whose talent, commitment to his craft, and passion for giving back makes him a true inspiration. From his eccentric roles to his off-screen antics, Depp has been a staple in cinematic history for decades. In this video, we'll get to know the truth behind the mystique and explore the story behind the powerhouse in Hollywood. Uncovering the fascinating story of Johnny Depp from singing sensation to Hollywood icon. Discover the inspirations and controversies that fueled his fame and fortune. Learn about his epic love affairs and his notorious vices. Today, we'll talk about the fall and rise of Johnny Depp. Life before fame. Being the youngest of Betty Sue Depp, a waitress, and John Christopher Depp, a civil engineer, John Christopher Depp II, or Johnny Depp as we know him today, was born on June 9, 1963, in Owensboro, Kentucky. One thing that's incredibly popular about this actor is the fact that he comes from an extremely dysfunctional family. His mother was heartless to him, and so was his father. Johnny is not alone. He has three siblings. Christy Dombrowski, Debbie Depp, and Daniel Depp are Johnny's three elder siblings. Daniel is Johnny's half-brother. They both have Betty Sue Palmer as their biological mother. Daniel is a published novelist who was born in Kentucky, the home state of the Depp family, according to his Simon & Schuster profile. When it comes to Johnny's siblings, Debbie, who is his half-sister and has the same mother, is more mysterious. Since she plainly tries to keep her personal life as secret as possible, there isn't much information available about her in the general public. However, she supposedly resides in Kentucky, as reported by Hollywood Life. Johnny and his father had a unique bond. In the Inside the Actor studio interview, the actor disclosed that his father worked as a civil engineer. Following the divorce, Johnny claimed that his father had abandoned the family when he was just 15 years old, around the time he had quit school and started playing in bands. After his father abruptly left, he approached him. "I'm done," he declared. "I can't. I am unable to continue. I can no longer endure it." In his testimony, he said, "You're the guy now." I found those words to be unsettling. I didn't think I was prepared for such things to be said. Johnny admitted that he initially thought his father's decision to leave was cowardly, but he has since contacted him to learn more about the circumstances around the decision. According to the Post, Johnny labeled his father a decent man in his testimony, showing that he has apparently come to forgive and understand him more since he left. He claimed that he apologized to me for having to go through the belt and lashing. The actor said that his father was not violent. At the same time, my father was somewhat at Betty Sue's mercy. Betty Sue Palmer, Johnny's mother, died in 2016. The two were rumored to be quite close. Although Johnny clearly loves his mother, he has been frank about how she battered him as a youngster while his father was largely absent. He admitted to unreasonable bashings in an interview with Rolling Stone from June 2018. "Yeah, perhaps an ashtray is heading your way. It's possible that you'll drop the phone." When his mother passed away in 2016, he didn't speak very highly of her during her burial. He said to the magazine that his mother may have been the meanest human being I've ever met in my life. Throughout Depp's childhood, his family relocated frequently until finally settling in Miramar, Florida in 1970. When Johnny was 15, his parents separated. His mother eventually wed Robert Palmer, whom Depp referred to as an inspiration. Johnny's connection with his mother was once more in the spotlight during the trial. He described other instances of physical and psychological ill influence that the actor believes his mother participated in, including being belt whipped. This information was provided to the New York Post. He said that there was quite a bit of name-calling. On April 20th, 2022, Johnny testified in the defamation trial and provided further information on the passing of his mother. He said that during her dying days in the hospital, he visited her with his children, Lily Rose and Jack. Additionally, he said that the rough times he experienced with his mother were finally resolved. "Because I knew where Betty Sue was coming from and how challenging her childhood was, I had found peace with her," he added. "I pardoned her for everything." However, People claims that during Johnny and Amber's trial, Christy talked about the violent home she, Johnny, and their other two siblings had grown up in. They had to contend with a mother who smacked them and threw objects at them. What's more, she claimed that when they were adults, she and Johnny made a deal not to repeat anything that had happened to them as children. But Christy added that as she aged, their mother softened. Depp has discussed the everyday stress his father, three siblings, and he had growing up as a result of being pursued by their aggressive mother. Depp's family relocated to Florida when Johnny was just 7 years old, and they spent over a year living in a hotel before Depp's father found work. When the actor was 15 years old, in 1978, his father packed up and left the family as he headed out to work because he could no longer take the violence. What an irony that Johnny had a defamation case where he accused his wife of mistreatments. Depp's behavior grew increasingly erratic as an adolescent, and at the age of 14, he indulged in narcotics. Also, he claims to have begun smoking at the age of 12, lost his virginity at the age of 13, and done every sort of substances there was by at 14 in an interview with People magazine in October 1994. Johnny was taken into the world of substances thanks to his mother. In an interview with People, Johnny tells, "My mother used to ask me to go and get her nerve pills, and I think I was around the age of 11 that it dawned on me that nerve pills were calming her nerves, so I brought her nerve pills and I took one, and that began my substance use," he said. Depp continued by recalling his mother's suicide attempt and said that he had never used narcotics for the party effect. It was done in an effort to dull the internal issues that trauma survivors may suffer. He said that at the age of 11, in an effort to avoid feeling so much, he began using the pleasure powders. "I can't say that I'm proud of admitting to that, but I have to say that I realized there was nothing else to do. It's a very early age to do that," he remarked. "The way Ms. Heard described my substance misuse," he said, "is greatly inflated, and, I'm sorry to say, but most of it is just plain wrong. I don't need to be high or drunk all the time like some madman claims," he added. He went on by saying, "I have occasionally used these white powders throughout the years to numb myself of the ghosts and wraiths that were still there in me from my boyhood." During this period, he started to isolate himself from the rest of his family and turned to music for comfort, practicing his guitar in his bedroom. Depp quit high school at the age of 16 in 1979 to pursue his musical goals. Before relocating to LA in 1983, he was strapped for cash and spent many months living out of friends' automobiles. Johnny's teenage life was not always filled with ignorance and mistreatment. He had a special man whom he called Paw Paw. It was none other than his paternal grandfather. Being very young, Johnny had pleasant memories of picking tobacco in the fields with him and listening to his life stories. Maybe these pleasant memories created a bond between tobacco and Johnny Depp.
How did you get into the cigars? Did somebody introduce you, or was it?
Because if someone walked up to me and handed me a rolled up pair of socks, I would probably smoke it. I'm one of the few and the proud smokers who really love smoking.
Depp is of primarily English descent with some French, German, and Irish ancestry. His surname comes from a French Huguenot immigrant, Pierre Depp, who settled in Virginia around 1700. In several interviews in 2002 and 2011, Depp claimed to have Native American ancestry, saying, "I guess I have some Native American somewhere down the line. My great-grandmother was quite a bit of Native American. She grew up Cherokee or maybe Creek Indian." Makes sense in terms of coming from Kentucky, which is rife with Cherokee and Creek Indian. Depp's claims came under scrutiny when Indian Country Today wrote that Depp had never inquired about his heritage or been recognized as a member of the Cherokee Nation. Although it also frightens him a little, Depp is proud of his background. He believes that his ancestors may have been the victims of horrible violence at some point, and that the family members born from those early unions may not have done so voluntarily. The first step to music. When Depp was 12 years old, his mother handed him a guitar and he started performing in numerous bands. He left Miramar High School in 1979 at the age of 16 to pursue a career as a rock musician. 2 weeks later, he made an attempt to return to school, but the headmaster advised him to pursue his aspiration of becoming a musician. Depp's first brief experience with stardom occurred when he was just 17 years old and playing guitar for the punk band The Kids. Iggy Pop, Ramones, Talking Heads, and The Pretenders all picked the band as their opening act when the group generated enough hype in their home state of Florida. Depp only concluded his creative potential is best realized in the cinema rather than the stage after encouragement from his ex-wife, Lori Ann Allison, and her close friend, Nicolas Cage, who was then a budding actor. However, even after relocating to Hollywood, his instrument was always around. Depp is content to be a sideman on the music stage and in the recording studio, despite his name being on billboards and the top of movie posters. His discography has several cameos on the songs of various musicians. Along with playing the guitar, some of his achievements can be on the Oasis songs Fade Away and Fade In Out, backing vocals for Aerosmith on Freedom Fighter, and playing the drums on Marilyn Manson's entertaining interpretation of Carly Simon's You Are So Vain. Even as a founding member and touring member of the supergroup Hollywood Vampires, together with Joe Perry and Alice Cooper, Depp frequently sits on the side of the stage playing the guitar while trying to blend in. As a musician, Depp is making his biggest step yet. His debut album, 18, which includes some original songs, was published under his name. The album's young name fits the music well. It not only alludes to the passage of time, but also to Depp's professional comeback. He doesn't seem to have any cinematic projects planned, so the music seems to be his only option for now. It has yet to be seen and heard if the fanbase will stick around for the voyage. The journey from heartthrob musician to heartthrob actor. Johnny Depp aspired to be a rock star before he became the heartthrob on 21 Jump Street, did odd things with Tim Burton, or portrayed a pirate version of Keith Richards. Refusing to give up on that goal, the Oscar-nominated actor has kept up a consistent side career, playing in different ensembles and appearing as a guest on Friends CDs, frequently making an appearance at concerts to perform a few songs. Here's how it got even crazier. Viewers at the 2016 Grammy Awards got to witness how seriously Depp takes his music by watching him play with his new band, Hollywood Vampires, which includes Alice Cooper, Joe Perry from Aerosmith, and 2 members of Guns N' Roses during a cover of Motorhead and an original song. In order to pursue a career in music, the adolescent Depp in Miramar, Florida, dropped out of high school around 1980. His first notable band, The Kids, had some local success, opening for acts like The Pretenders, Talking Heads, Iggy Pop, and The Ramones. They eventually made the decision to go to Los Angeles in the hopes of becoming famous, but sadly the band broke up before signing a record contract. Maybe this was not in their fate and something else was waiting for this young, talented musician Depp? Yes. On the recommendation of his wife's friend, Nicolas Cage, Depp quickly made the decision to pursue acting, and the rest is history. Depp joined the glam group Rock City Angels because he wasn't ready to give up on music, even after appearing in films like A Nightmare on Elm Street and Platoon. He left the band when 21 Jump Street appeared, but he did receive composition credit for their song Mary, which was included on their Young Man's Blues debut album from 1988. After becoming a cinematic success thanks to Edward Scissorhands, Depp worked to create the Viper Room nightclub and started the band P with Bill Carter and Gibby Haynes, the frontman of the Butthole Surfers. Road to fame in Hollywood. Johnny Depp made his acting debut in the 1984 film A Nightmare on Elm Street. He's one of Hollywood's most eccentric and frequently contentious figures.
They told me you like good wine.
Well, that's the one.
So I pulled up one of my bottles. This is for you. Toast to you. Toast to you.
Well, we're going to be drunk in a minute.
No, we won't. We're not going to drink the whole thing. Here's to your superb performance in Finding Nemo.
Ooh, good. What do you mean we're not going to drink the whole thing?
Depp claimed in an interview with Oprah Winfrey that Hollywood star Nicolas Cage encouraged him to think about a career in acting. Depp was applying for jobs and struggled to earn a living after relocating to Los Angeles to pursue a career as a musician. When Cage saw him submitting an application for a job at a video store, he suggested him to get his teeth into acting. Additionally, he promised to put Depp in touch with his agency. Cage's representative forwarded Depp to the casting director for the new movie A Nightmare on Elm Street after Depp accepted his offer. Depp started a new profession after landing his first acting role following a successful audition. Following Nightmare on Elm Street, Depp went on to appear in a number of additional movies and supporting roles. He participated in a number of short films and one-off television programs during the rest of the 1980s, still seeking to establish a name for himself. He did have his first opportunity to take part in a significant production during this period. For Oliver Stone's 1986 film Platoon, which needed actors to play several troops, Depp was able to land a tiny role as a soldier who speaks Vietnamese and assists a prominent character with translation. Depp departed 21 Jump Street in 1990 to feature in Burton's Edward Scissorhands, starring Winona Ryder, Stranger Things. Following his appearance on 21 Jump Street, Depp rose to fame among teenagers as both a name and a face. According to Orange Coast magazine, thousands of youngsters would gather at public events for the show just to catch a glimpse of their beloved undercover television officers. Depp didn't want to fall into the trap of being so famous that he couldn't work on smaller projects that he found interesting, although many performers would be thrilled to have such a devoted audience. Depp would later work with Burton on other projects throughout his career, including Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Corpse Bride. The filmmaker had a key role in Depp's career rise into an international success. The debut of the television police drama 21 Jump Street in 1987 marked Depp's big break as an actor. He played Officer Tom Hansen, a young officer who regularly went undercover in high schools and universities to apprehend problematic youngsters. Despite Depp resenting his marketing as a young idol, the play was a success. Depp expressed his distaste for the adolescent idol lifestyle in a Rolling Stone feature at the time, stating, "I don't want to make a profession out of taking my shirt off." Depp went on to say that he didn't want to take the chance of being famous quickly just to lose it after a few years. Additionally, he desired enough autonomy to select the films in which he would appear. Depp started choosing his assignments more carefully in an effort to broaden the range of his characters. Depp's transformation as a more outre, quirky actor began with this choice. He departed the program in 1990 and went on to star in the independent films Edward Scissorhands and Cry Baby by John Waters, both of which demonstrated Depp's versatility. According to Burton, who spoke to the LA Instances, "You don't have that many times times in your life where you simply connect with somebody and it's just easy. It's just there. Depp was looking forward to collaborating with Tim Burton once more, probably even more than working on a story he adored as a kid. Depp writes in his book that because he and the film's director, Roman Polanski, did not get along, filming The Ninth Gate in 1999 was challenging. According to his biography, working with Tim Burton on Sleepy Hollow was like an exorcism. It served to purge my Ninth Gate experience. When Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl debuted in theaters in 2003, Johnny Depp's status as a Hollywood icon was cemented. The movie grossed an insane $654 million worldwide and was a huge box office and critical hit. Depp portrays Captain Jack Sparrow, a crazy and absurd pirate who is seeking to recapture his ship, the Black Pearl, in the movie. The character's eccentricity successfully endeared him to the public, winning over both young and elderly viewers. Depp received several honors for his work, including Best Actor at the 9th Empire Awards, Best Male Performance at the MTV Movie Awards, and Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Leading Role at the 10th Screen Actors Guild Awards. The most significant event was his first Oscar nomination, which ultimately signified his full transformation from cult beloved to leading man in blockbuster films. In addition to winning accolades, Curse of the Black Pearl launched a series that has produced 5 movies, several video game adaptations, and a wealth of goods. Since then, Johnny Depp has remained one of Hollywood's most well-known actors. He received another nomination for Finding Neverland the following year. Depp and Burton reunited for the 2007 film adaptation of Stephen Sondheim's musical Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, in which they played the serial murderer Sweeney. Depp got plaudits for his performance as Sweeney, and guess what? Another Oscar nomination. Later films in the Pirates of the Caribbean series, including Dead Man's Chest, 2006, At World's End, 2007, On Stranger Tides, 2011, and Dead Men Tell No Tales, 2017, which were among the highest-grossing movies ever, had Depp reprising the character of Sparrow. Marriage, love, and divorce. It's amazing to believe that Depp was the coolest Hollywood megastar when he was still best recognized for portraying historical wild guys rather than becoming one of them. Despite coming from an insanely dysfunctional home, Johnny never had any such reputation. Instead, he was already described as being humorous, caring, and genuine. Johnny was married 2 times and has gone through 2 divorces. The first spouse of Depp was Laurie Ann Allison. She was the sister of the bassist in one of Depp's bands, The Kids, in the 1980s. Interestingly, she was Depp's senior by 5 years. After being married in South Florida in December 1983, they quickly relocated to California. Nicolas Cage, who urged Depp to continue acting, met Depp through Allison, a makeup artist. Depp's big break came when Cage allegedly assisted him in getting an audition for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Depp and Allison were married when he was only 20. His increasing profession and the young age of the couple ultimately caused the marriage to crumble, and he filed for divorce in 1985. Sources informed TMZ that Allison said Depp never touched her physically when they were married, noting that he never even raised his boys throughout their relationship. Allison and Depp are currently on good terms. Depp started seeing Sherilyn Fenn, the star of Twin Peaks, after divorcing Allison. They first met on the set of the student movie Dummies in 1985 when she was 19 and he was 21. When we first started out in the industry, we went out for 2.5 years, Fenn recounted to The Big Issue. He was quite charming. My first love was him. I had discovered true love. Even though it was with someone who wasn't on the same road as her, they cooked together, spent time together, laughed, and even cried. Before their amicable breakup in 1989, the two were not married, but Fenn still thinks highly of Depp. Fenn tweeted an old photo of herself with Depp from the 1980s along with the caption, "I know JCD isn't capable of the things being written," after Heard accused Depp of domestic violence in 2016. According to rumors, Depp dated Dirty Dancing actress Jennifer Grey, but their passionate but brief romance ended. According to Entertainment Tonight, the couple was even engaged, but they never made it to the altar before divorcing. Shortly after his divorce from Fenn in 1989, Depp met Winona Ryder at the 1989 Great Balls of Fire premiere and said to Rolling Stone that it was love at first sight. It was a classic gaze, similar to the zoom lenses in West Side Story, he said, adding that after that, everything else became hazy. Then I was aware. It wasn't a lengthy minute, but it was paused, Ryder agreed. A mutual acquaintance introduced Ryder to Depp at his Chateau Marmont hotel room, but it wasn't until months later that the two really had their first encounter. Ryder fessed out, "I feared that he may be rude. I had no idea, but he was quite bashful." Ryder was just 17 years while Depp was 26. Soon after meeting, the pair became inseparable, and 5 months later they became engaged. Depp described their brief affair as follows, "I'm being completely honest with you when I tell you that in all of my 27 years, nothing has ever come close to the emotion I have for Winona. It's like some strange bounding atom or something. Even if you believe something to be true, it will feel different in your hands. The truth has enormous power. I'm aware now." He added, "Be assured that I did not take this tattoo of Winona forever lightly." My God, those eyes. Before getting married, the pair split up and Depp later changed his Winona Forever tattoo to Wino Forever. Depp suggested in 1993 to the Los Angeles Times that pressure from the media contributed to their breakup. In this town, maintaining a personal life is really challenging. It was a mistake for me to be so open about my connection with Winona, but I reasoned that if we were honest, the curiosity monster wouldn't exist. Instead, it gave individuals permission to feel like they were a part of it by feeding it. Ryder remembered to LUK via People, "I had just finished Edward Scissorhands and Dracula. My first heartbreak, my first actual breakup had just occurred. Everyone else believed I had it all, that there was no need for me to be miserable because everything was at its top, but on the inside, I was absolutely lost," which I think was extremely hilarious. According to Johnny, he really regrets being so open about his relationship with Ryder. After allegedly becoming romantically involved, Juliette Lewis and Depp met while working on the 1993 movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Not long before she started dating Depp, Lewis called it quits on her relationship with Brad Pitt. She and Depp's romance was brief, but they have just stayed friends ever since. After splitting up with Ryder and Lewis, Depp met supermodel Kate Moss at a New York City cafe in 1994. The two then began a turbulent, drama-filled relationship. In 1994, after trashing his and Moss's suite at the Mark Hotel in New York City's opulent Upper East Side, Depp was detained for criminal mischief. Depp claimed that an armadillo hiding in the closet was responsible for the devastation. He was charged about $10,000 for property damage to the hotel. In 1998, the couple separated and Moss was heartbroken. Later, she spoke to Vanity Fair. "Nobody has ever been able to genuinely take care of me. For a while, Johnny did. I took him at his word. He would respond if I asked, 'What do I do?' for example. And when I left, I missed that. I completely lost my sense of who I could trust. Nightmare. Sobbing for years and years. Oh, how I cry." Actress Ellen Barkin, who Depp met in 1998 while making the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, is said to have been his lover. In a deposition for Depp's case against The Sun, Barkin claimed that Depp hit her with a wine bottle when they were dating. According to the Daily Mail, Depp dismissed her allegations as the result of him not pursuing a committed relationship with her. In 1998, Depp started dating Vanessa Paradis. They had their daughter Lily Rose Depp in 1999, then their son Jack Depp in 2002. After 14 years of marriage, the couple separated in 2012. Depp discussed the breakup with Rolling Stone in 2013. "It was difficult for Paradis. On me, it wasn't simple. The youngsters had it tough. It doesn't change the fact that you care for that person, that she is the mother of your children, that you will always be friends, and that you will always be involved in each other's life as a result of those children. You might as well utilize it to your advantage." When Heard accused Depp of domestic mistreatment, Paradis responded in a letter, a copy of which was obtained by TMZ, that the accusations were outrageous and that Depp has never been physically with me in all the years I have known Johnny, and that this looks nothing like the man I lived with for 14 wonderful years. Heard may have been the name that made Johnny Depp the most searched and followed man of 2022, but the truth made people see the real Johnny. Thanks to his second ex-wife, Amber Heard, people got to see the human side of Johnny and learn about his devastating background. Heard and Depp met while they were filming The Rum Diary in 2009, and Depp confirmed this during his evidence in Heard's defamation case. He did point out that their relationship didn't really take off until after they parted ways with their respective partners, since he was still seeing Paradis and Heard was dating Tazia Van Ree at the time of the movie's production. When Heard divorced from Van Ree in late 2011 or early 2012, according to court documents via Variety, Depp and Heard started dating. Before tying the marriage in February 2015 at their Los Angeles residence and a second ceremony in the Bahamas, the couple dated for almost 3 years. Later, Depp disclosed that his daughter Lily Rose had declined to attend the wedding. Depp and Allison were married for roughly 2 years, while he had been wed to Heard for 23 months in all. The accounts of Johnny as a husband somehow differ greatly between these two exes. A year and 3 months after her marriage to Depp, Heard filed for divorce and named the actor the subject of a domestic violence restraining order. Depp has adamantly rejected all claims of scurrility against Heard. Just a few weeks before their second wedding anniversary, the couple completed their divorce in January 2017. According to Page 6, the actress referred to Depp as the monster several times in the court documents and said that his heavy drinking and narcotics usage meant he couldn't recall the scurrility. Friends and friends. Johnny Depp is friends with a lot of the A-listers, and these people have become a support system for the actor. The first time Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp came into contact was on the set of What's Eating Gilbert Grape when they both played siblings. Later, Leonardo said in an interview that he had the opportunity to work with great individuals on this film, possibly referring to his co-star Johnny Depp. In addition, Leonardo was offered a more lucrative role in the film Hocus Pocus, but he chose to continue working on the Depp project instead. Nicolas Cage and Johnny Depp have a good friendship, since it seems like everyone in Hollywood is friends with Johnny Depp. Insider claims that Cage introduced Johnny Depp to his acting agency, which ultimately resulted in Depp landing his first ever assignment. When questioned about him, Johnny Depp always has nothing but positive things to say and attributes his success to Nicolas Cage. Despite current controversy surrounding Johnny Depp, filmmaker Tim Burton of Wednesday says he would still be open to working with Depp again. Burton started his filmmaking career as an animator for Disney, where he is presently marketing his new Addams Family-inspired Netflix series. Burton is noted for his darkly whimsical aesthetic, which is evident in all of his films, from the horror comedy Beetlejuice to the historical drama Ed Wood. Throughout his career, Burton has regularly worked with Depp, who plays the lead in numerous of his movies, such as Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, and Edward Scissorhands. The two last collaborated in 2012 on Tim Burton's Dark Shadows adaptation for the big screen. Although Depp hasn't had many parts since the defamation trial started and even before that, after all, Depp has no intention of reprising his two most notable performances, Gellert Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts and Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. It is obvious that Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt are real friends rather than simply Hollywood acquaintances. When they were simultaneously working on the movie Interview with the Vampire in 1994, Pitt and Depp got to know one another. They clicked right away and they've been friends ever since. They frequently go to events together and have even gone on family vacations together. As Depp has struggled with personal and legal issues in recent years, their bond has been tested. Pitt has always been his friend's supporter, even paying him a visit on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales when it was being filmed. Infamous Johnny Heard defamation trial. Johnny had a really good reputation as being a sweet and loving Hollywood star who did many unthinkable fan services. However, all the positive news, media, and people turned against Johnny when his ex-wife Heard accused him of being a wife-beater. Due to the sometimes gory and scandalous facts of the couple's unhappy marriage, the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial has garnered huge media attention. However, the jury is also required to take into account whether one of them had experienced professional loss as a result of the other's falsehoods about them. Even when there is proof that both of their careers have suffered, it is considerably more difficult to attribute that damage to particular defamatory remarks. Depp claims that he lost millions of dollars as a result of Heard's domestic mistreatment claims, which she made reference to in a 2018 op-ed. Depp was a celebrity in serious decline even before the charges, according to the evidence, and a string of legal defeats left him all but unhireable by big studios. Suddenly, the entire film industry was against Johnny and criticized everything and anything they could find. They labeled him an egotistic, fading star that is isolated and one more mistake away. According to testimony from Depp's former business manager and agency, the actor's unprofessional actions severely hurt his financial situation by causing Hollywood to lose interest in the freely spending celebrity. Depp routinely arrived late and unprepared on the set of the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean movie and other projects, relying on an earpiece to feed him lines. Studios are more generous when the movies are successful. Depp was once that rarest of commodities, an actor with such a captivating on-screen charisma that he could fill theaters to the brim. Over $1 billion was made from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, which starred Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter. The team also had success with their remakes of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Sweeney Todd. But during the previous 10 years, Depp's success at the movie office had declined, with disappointments like Mordecai, Transcendence, and Black Mass stacking up and damaging his reputation in the marketplace. However, after the astronomical success of the Pirates films, Depp had become accustomed to having studios fulfill his whims. In the trial, Heard tried her best to prove Johnny to have a vulgar character. In the court, Heard remembered witnessing his substance and alcohol misuse. Heard revealed about the mistreatment she received in a 2018 op-ed for the Washington Post, but she made no mention of Depp. The actor claimed his ex-wife implied he was the wife-beater in a $50 million defamation lawsuit and branded her charges a fake. This trial, however, brought together good words from all of Johnny's exes. After Depp's ex-wife Amber Heard obtained a domestic violence restraining order against him during their divorce in 2016, Ryder previously told Time magazine that the actor never mistreated her during their long-ago romance. Heard, 36, stands by the accusations, which Depp has long denied. At the time, Ryder remarked, "I can only speak from my personal experience, which was drastically different from what is being claimed. He never ever treated me in such a way, never insulted me in any way. He just comes across to me as a genuinely nice, loving, caring man who fiercely guards the ones he loves." Lori, who was married to Johnny from 1983 to 1985, says she doesn't agree with Amber Heard's assertion that he often beat her throughout their brief union. According to her, Johnny never engaged in physical contact or even shouted with her when they were together. "He's a soft person," she says, "who even has compassion for animals. When Lori and Johnny were married, they had a dog, and Johnny showed the dog more affection than most parents do with their children." Even after their mother's passing, Lori and Johnny remained friends and chatted only last week when she called to express her sorrow. Paradis, who was in a relationship with Depp between 1998 and 2012 and with whom she had 2 children, also shared words of support during these difficult times. Additionally, a witness statement from the musician was requested for the 2020 legal proceeding. According to Insider, Paradis wrote, "Throughout all these years, I've known Johnny to be a nice, attentive, giving, and nonviolent person and parent. This is nothing like the actual Johnny I have known," Paradis said in response to Heard's claims. From from my personal experience of many years, I can assure he was never aggressive or abusive to me. She said, unfortunately, many continue to believe these bogus truths. The 2020 trial witness Ellen Barkin, whom he dated in the 90s, stated there was always an aura of aggression surrounding him. She also added, he shouts a lot. He uses aggressive language, based on Newsweek. Depp allegedly flung a wine bottle across the room, the hotel room, at one point when they were filming, according to Barkin, who also brought up the event. Heard's side sought Barkin to testify once again at the 2022 trial. She testified on camera that Depp frequently used marijuana, drank alcohol, and used illicit narcotics, especially while she was around. In the final week of the defamation trial between Depp and Heard on May 25th, Moss gave a pro-Depp statement. Heard brought up a story that Depp shoved Moss down the stairs while they were dating in the 1990s, so Depp's defense team called on the model as a witness. Moss responded to inquiries from Depp's attorney on the purported incident that happened while the pair was on vacation in a brief live-streamed video testimony. There had been a rainstorm, and when we were leaving the room, Johnny went before I did. As I was leaving the room, I slipped and hurt my back, she added. Moss stated, I shouted because I didn't know what happened to me and I was in pain. He came sprinting back to rescue me and carried me to my room and brought me medical care. Moss said, no, he never pushed me, kicked me, or hurled me down any steps when asked if Depp had ever shoved her in the past. Without a doubt, the trial clarified how incredible Johnny is and how well his exes remember him. He might have had 6 engagements and married twice, he was no less of a gentleman to each of them. Johnny Depp's legion of fans is proof of his legacy and character both on-screen and off-screen. He has been seen doing several fan services that are rare for a celebrity of his level. He enjoys cheering people up, especially ill kids, with whom he has a stronger bond as a result of the agony he endured in 2007 when his daughter had to spend time in the hospital for renal failure brought on by an E. coli infection. To the dismay of his security, he enjoys spending time with his admirers and never declines a hug, photo, talk, or autograph. So despite the name-calling, Johnny had his fans supporting him throughout the case with Heard. Numerous fans religiously gathered in front of the courtroom and to watch the decision live on their smartphones. They supported Johnny throughout the trial in any media and form which surprised Heard and her defense team. Johnny became the new face of justice, while Heard the new face of violence. After the results were announced, the audience erupted in jubilant cheers and screams. The media rejoiced with the numerous fans. People even gathered in pubs and cheered as the actor walked away victorious against narcissistic mistreatment by his ex-wife. Many giant corporations showed their hypocritical side during this trial. After the trial was won, Disney immediately apologized for accusing Johnny despite not being proven guilty. That too due to the pressure from the fans. In order to distance themselves from the scandal and sever their relationship with Depp, Disney did so right away. Fans were disappointed to know that the actor will not be appearing in the Fantastic Beasts and Pirates of the Caribbean series. These are the characters that can never be imagined without the face of Johnny Depp, so the disappointment was intense. Even the former Disney head Michael Eisner said, Jack Sparrow Johnny Depp once recalled being hated by former Disney head Michael Eisner, who said, Jack Sparrow Johnny Depp once recalled being hated by former Disney head Michael Eisner, who said, he's ruining the Pirates of the Caribbean series. In a recent interview, the film producer who worked on all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean films expressed his desire to see Johnny Depp reprise his Jack Sparrow character. However, the actor is so far adamant about not returning to the franchise. It's sad that he had to let go of Jack Sparrow, whom he basically nurtured himself due to the defamation case. But the fans support Johnny for putting himself before anything else. They will surely miss the notorious pirate Jack Sparrow, but they are also happy to see the actor in a healthy space.
Quote, I wasn't aware of that, but it doesn't surprise me, he testified via Variety. 2 years had gone by of constant worldwide talk about me being a wife, so I'm sure that Disney was trying to cut ties to be safe.
His beloved kids. If there is anything Johnny holds extremely dear to him, it is his kids. He's always been passionately protective of his children as well. In fact, he stated in court during his defamation action against ex-Amber Heard in 2022 that he had a duty to clear his name for the benefit of his children. He added in a hearing on April 19th that the news of her charges had sort of penetrated the sector and then made its way via media and social media and become rather a global, let's say, fact, if you will. Since I was aware that there was absolutely no truth to it, I thought it was my duty to speak out, not just for myself at the time, but also for my children. Depp has frequently discussed his family in interviews and has always had a high regard for his children.
Baby girl, very happy for you.
Yeah, it's incredible. People have asked me if it's changed my life, but in fact, I think the birth of my daughter gave me life. You know, her mother and I. I mean, it just woke us up. You know,
It's the best thing. It's
Johnny has frequently shown his love for his kids. Having children provided him a good foundation, a genuine firm place to stand in life, at work, in everything, he told the Associated Press back in 2006. The celebrity went into depth on how being a father altered his life 6 years later. There is nothing in the world that could possibly induce me to wish I could go back and live some of my younger years. You have some success after being a little wounded or broken as a child, but you don't know how to feel good about your life or your career, he told The Sun. He said the following in a 2013 Rolling Stone interview: "My children hear that they are loved 75 times a day. One thing is for certain, kids do feel loved, safe, joyful, wanted, and a part of something." The oldest child of Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis is Lily Rose Depp. She was born in France, the nation of her mother, in 1999. In an interview, Johnny recalls his first moment as a father and witnessing the birth of his daughter.
This is it. This is real life.
Did you see the birth?
I was there, yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, I've been, since May 27th, when my daughter was born, I've been floating. I smile constantly.
Lily Rose has made the same decision as her father to live in the spotlight and has been pursuing an acting profession since a young age. She was born on May 27, 1999 in France, and as she's gotten older, she's continued her father's acting profession. With a brief cameo appearance in Kevin Smith's 2014 comedy horror movie Tusk, in which Johnny also participated, Lily Rose made her acting debut. In the 2016 spin-off Yoga Hosers, she repeated her part and she will appear in the third sequel, Moose Jaws. Lily Rose has served as a brand ambassador for Chanel since 2015, when Karl Lagerfeld selected her to serve as the company's spokesperson. Her mother, Vanessa, has worked as a spokesmodel for the business ever since the 1990s. When Amber's allegations of extremities started to get attention in 2016, the actress defended her father in a since-deleted post. She stated, "Everyone who knows him would say the same about my dad. He's the kindest, most loving guy I know. He's been nothing but a fantastic father to my little brother and me." Sasha Wass QC, the brand's attorney, interrogated Johnny Depp while he was testifying in his libel lawsuit against a UK newspaper. Johnny was questioned about giving his daughter Lily Rose Depp marijuana when she was 13 when he was testifying, now 21. The first thing he said was to make it clear that he never pushed my daughter to take marijuana. As we all know, when you go to high school parties when you were 11, 12, or 13 years old, people will approach you and try to give you a drink because they are drinking, Johnny remarked. "Listen, honey, if you are at a party and someone passes you the joint, take the joint from that person and pass the joint to the next person," he said, revealing the advice he had previously given Lily Rose. "Don't use strangers to do white powder experiments, because I don't want your first encounter in this world to be with people you don't know, taking things you don't know that I can't trust. Please do me the honor of coming to me when you are ready, when you genuinely believe you are ready. It's a safety concern," he said, adding that he talked to his ex Vanessa Paradis before giving their daughter the narcotics. "You don't want your 13-year-old going into some paranoid tailspin, and I knew that the marijuana I had myself, that I smoke myself, is trustworthy, is a good quality, and I was bound and determined not to have her try any narcotics out there in the world because it's too dangerous," he said. He said, "If it is bad in your views, I appreciate what you believe, but I was raising a daughter, and as far as I was concerned, I was being a responsible father." Lucky for fans, Johnny has a son. Born on April 9, 2002, Jack Depp is Johnny and Vanessa's youngest child. Over the years, Jack, whose full name is John Christopher Depp III, has maintained a far lower profile than his sister and has only sometimes been spotted. But whenever Jack is seen, he always has a striking likeness to his well-known father. Jack has a few traits that also have some similarity to his mother Vanessa, proving that he actually inherited his wonderful parents' good looks. Because Jack had severe health concerns in 2018, Vanessa had to skip a movie premiere. Although the nature of Jack's health difficulties was never revealed, it seems like he is now well. At roughly the same time, Johnny spoke up on the alleged scurrility and how he believed it affected Jack. "You see what I mean when I say that going to school wasn't easy for my 14-year-old boy? People saying, 'Hey guy, look at this magazine.' He said to GQ, 'What, your dad beats up ladies or something?' Why did he need to experience that? Why was my daughter forced to endure that?" Johnny has previously stated that, in contrast to Lily Rose, Jack will not be pursuing an acting career. Jack does, however, have interests in other areas. In 2014, Johnny stated to the Philippine Daily Inquirer, "My child Jack has always been a very excellent draftsman. He draws really well. He is an excellent musician as well. He has an excellent sense of that. Apart from school plays and other things, he hasn't demonstrated any interest in acting." Phew! So where is Johnny now? After a protracted, acrimonious, and obnoxiously publicized court fight with his ex-wife Amber Heard, including La Favorite and an untitled Italian movie that is likely titled Johnny Puff's Secret Mission 2023. He has been promoting his latest musical gig on Rihanna's controversial Savage X Fenty Volume 4 fashion show. The former publication was informed by a source that Rihanna and her team had asked Depp to take part in the program and that both sides were eager to make it happen. Depp is the first guy to take part in the Savage X Fenty show history, according to TMZ. He also made a controversial controversial appearance on MTV Awards dressed in a spacesuit, which the fans absolutely loved. On Thursday, a source told People that Depp and Rich were dating, but their relationship was not serious. All the fans are waiting to see their favorite actor on screen while hoping for the actor to be happy. Will Johnny be able to make a comeback? Will his scandals again get the best of him? Will we see Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow? As we wait for these questions to be answered, keep an eye out for the next video. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.